Good evening and welcome to Hot Pink Pride Radio. I am your host, Cherie Stern, and Hot Pink Pride Radio is a community service program of Honey Child Ministries. And so today, you know what? This is your mother. We coming again straight off the muscle, real, genuine, raw. Tonight we are talking with Tammey Bell with Unlocked Secrets Part 2. Okay? And so we have a couple of other guests tonight, and so we're going to get into this issue of healing childhood trauma. So we're going to go through, of course, some of the juicy tidbits of this book, but we're also going to be talking with the editor and with another lady that is here to also give testimony on this subject. So you know what, guys? While I'm here, I'm hearing something playing in the background. Is somebody playing this live? If you are, can you mute it?
Hold on.
Hi, Apostle. Yeah, can y'all hear the background? Can you? There it is.
No, I can't.
Is it off? Okay, I think it's off. So, no, it's not off because there's still some background going on as if it's playing in the background while we're on live. And I think it just no, it didn't even go away. But so I'm gonna try to ignore it. You know, y'all, I'm a little bit
It's off.
touched. So when when stuff is going on in the background, I'm like, are those the voices in my head, or is that the voice in this microphone, or what? Okay. But Tammey, so look, I started reading, okay, I started reading Unlocked Secrets Part 2, and I've only gotten through half of the book. Okay, and I'm telling you that I made a video of me reading the book, and those are natural reactions to this book. And I believe we also have your editor on as well. So we're going to get into a little bit of, the process of editing the book and getting it out and getting it for publishing. But I mean, the real reason that we're here tonight is to talk about this great content. It's a very good storytelling vibe in this content. And if you're a book reader, then you will be able to read and follow along really easy. But I'm telling you, honey, it really did touch on some very, very sensitive topics. About childhood wounding, about your own story. So, we can get into as much of that as you want to. It's not like you're putting your business out there because you already did it. Okay.
True.
So, Tammy, go ahead and give me for people that don't know that might be watching, then please go ahead and give an intro of yourself and an intro of the book, and also an intro of the guests that you brought here, because these are the people that you brought on, and so you brought them on with a purpose tonight. So I want to go ahead and let you tell what that is.
Okay, so to everyone, my name is Tammey Bell. I am the author of the Unlocked Secrets chapter books. Unlock Secrets Chapter 1, we did that. That's the Finding Forgiveness. The one we're talking about tonight is the Unlock Secrets chapter book, Part 2, which is based on my life. So how I started with the Unlocked Secrets, I started doing it as a fictional book. But like I said, the man, it hit so close to home that I'm like, okay, man, I just had to tell my story. Like I had to get it out there. It was just something that would not let my heart rest. So like I said, it started off as being a fictional book, but then it started to make me come to terms with a lot of things that I went through in my life. So that was started the Unlock Secrets chapter book. So I'm going to introduce everybody because y'all know I love to talk. We have Sharon Bell. Sharon Bell, can you hear me?
Yes.
We have her say it's like when I was going through a dark chapter in my life, she was always there saying something positive. You know, she never judged me, she pushed me. You get, and it's just like, come on, if I need somebody to get on this journey with me, I need her, because she was there with me through my dark hours, and she always had something positive. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but it's like I had an angel. I had an angel disguised as a friend. And it was like everything that she was saying, I needed to hear that at the moment. That's Sharon Bell right there. Star. Now, Star, ooh, I took her through the ringer. Ooh, I took her through the ringer, because when I first started on this journey, I was dabbling. I was like, you know what? I write, but I don't know if I want to write it into a book. So, but she stayed on me. She stayed pushing me, because if you know me, I love to do shows. I love to entertain. But she would hit me up every couple of months. You ready? You ready? Are you ready? And I was like, huh? She was like, are you ready? And I'm telling you, to deal with me, it's like I said, she's been on this journey with me since day one too. Because when we started the Unlock Secrets journey, it started off as fictional. So when I hit her with chapter 2, she was like, wait a minute, hold up. Wait a minute. Are you sure? I was like, yes. Write
All
everything
right.
that I said to you, send it to you, and we're gonna do it like this. So these two people right here, hey, I love them both dearly. So Sharon Bell to the left and Star to the right. Or maybe they to the right and the left for y'all. I don't know. I'm telling y'all how to look for me.
Well, either one of y'all are free, but please feel free to jump in and tell how, from your point of view, as far as your contribution, whether it was to the writing process or to the support process, because both of them are very important. Starly, you want to go first?
I'd love to go. Thank you. Appreciate an opportunity to speak with everyone. Um, I have been working with creative people for 7 years, creating book products. And I reached out. I don't know if you reached out to me first or I to you, but we got in contact through a
Yes,
group we're both in, and I
yes.
think we have some mutual friends. And it is not the first, nor will it be the last time I've had to drag an author to the finish line. And I do this with so much love and passion because that is how we heal. I believe in the gift of the arts. I believe that we were given such gifts so that we can use them as tools. And hopefully if we get to a place of strength, then we can share it to other people in the world. And I applaud Tammey for her tenacity and her bravery. There are many authors that I work with that do not complete the process, even with my pushing and constant pulling, because we're talking about traumas, things that are very sensitive topics about abuse, and you have to relive it when you write it. So it's asking quite a bit of people to revisit and to tell their stories. And the story of Unlock Secrets um, is just an amazing, heartfelt journey. To me, I see a young woman going through so much pain at such a young age. And it's surprising to me, and it's awful too, that most of the clients I work with start experiencing sexual childhood abuse before they're 10 years old. Um, and it's very challenging to have to go through that as an adult and to work that process out. But I do honestly believe that the healing can be found when you revisit as an adult in a different headspace, and you can look at the people and the situations with an adult mind, and start to put things into perspective that you probably didn't understand in your childhood. But I'm blessed to be on this journey with Tammey, and to help tell the stories that need to be told about childhood trauma, and really you're quite masterful in the way you tell the story. It is actually a unique product because it's written in the first person. Most fictional stories it reads like narrative, but this coming from the first person makes it even more heartfelt. I think you really touch your readers because they're hearing it in your voice.
That's absolutely true. I mean, it does take a certain amount of bravery just to expose yourself in that way to and expose your family. I think that's one of the things that keeps most people from telling their story, from just putting it out there is because all of the people in their family that it might hurt or embarrass or shame or whatever. And that's one of those things that when we're healing, we can't really just be so considerate of other people because it's really and truly it's probably those same people that were not considerate of us and didn't protect us that gets us to this place. So now you're right, you do have to be in a different headspace because so many times in abuse situations, the person being abused, that their emotional maturity gets stunted, and so they may not get to that place. And so even getting to that place of healing is, a miracle in and of itself.
I'll relent for a second just to give everybody else an opportunity to talk, but I just want to say that I'm thankful. And the reason why I am passionate about what I do is because there are millions of other people with unlocked secrets. And if I could get them all to share their story, I would. But like I said, it is a hard and challenging thing to ask someone to do that. And those who can, I applaud them greatly because it's something I don't even want to talk about in my own books, and I write fiction. So it is a hugely brave act, and I applaud all of those who are willing to share because I hopefully believe that it's going to help someone.
It will. It definitely will. It already has. So, Coco, let's come on and let's talk about your involvement in this process. And it sounds like that you have been a really great motivator and support system and sounding board through this process. So you can go ahead, introduce yourself, and tell about your involvement and where you see this thing going.
Okay, thank you. I'm so proud to be a part of it. I'm so nervous though. When Tammy invited me to do it, I tried to back out. Kind of. I asked her. I said, "Will they see my face? Will they just hear my voice? Because this I've never did anything like this, and all you ladies speak so so nice. So, and it's just hard for me. But with Tammy, the way I've never met Tammy personally. The way I met Tammy, we were friends. I guess we friended each other on Facebook, and she invited me to a group that she started called The Ear. And with that, I was able to open up about some of my secrets, in my life that were, holding, my progress back as far as me being in a gay relationship, being married to a woman, things that people just some people frown on. Um, and she shared a lot of herself. So I was like, this is deep. And I would tell my wife, I said, you got to friend her too. So she friended her. And I said, she's such a positive person. She shares so much. And I said, some of the things that she was going through in life, I was like, it just don't seem fair. But she seemed like such a strong person. So when she came out with the book, I was like, whoa, that I wasn't surprised at all. And I'm even out of my words. I'm so sorry. I'm probably just messing this up for everybody because I'm so nervous. But she's just um, uh, seemed like a giving person. It seemed like she was an interceder, basically, for her nieces and I mean cousins and different things like that. She took so much pain, where other people, didn't have to, and she still do, to this day. She shares so much, and she just want to be something to everybody, and she just had to realize she got to make herself happy. first. And I think with this book and with this journey, she's, learning more about herself, more about what she's capable of doing that, she didn't even know. If you put God first, the possibilities are, limitless. And I've been around people, and I don't, me myself, I've never walked in those shoes of like being abused or anything like that. Everybody always say you had the best mom and dad. I did. I really did. And so, but I know people that's walked in those shoes, and they're not the same, people that they would be. You know, being molested, being treated like that as a kid. You look at adults as being caregivers or people that's supposed to protect you, and then when they're not, it changed the whole trajectory of your life. So I applaud Tammey for speaking out and being brave enough to to let people in that really need to hear it. And thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much for coming to the show. And you did fine, honey. You sound like a natural. You did wonderful.
I
You
said they're
know,
gonna cancel again today. That's what I'll be
so
saying. No,
here,
I'm joking.
right? So here we are again, and we're talking. And, today I wanted to focus on the childhood trauma. Okay, on healing the childhood trauma, where that came from for you. And of course, we're going to talk about some of the book because I did highlight some spots in here, that I want to uh, touch on. So, but it's those, I think the saying goes is that we spend our adulthood getting over the things of our from our childhood. And I'm like Coco, like I cannot say that I've experienced anything like this, but in my line of work I have talked to people who are in the process of healing. I've talked to people who are just beginning. I mean, they begin the process of healing way into their 30s, 40s, 50s. You know what I'm saying? After they have spent a lifetime, living with the shame, living with the trauma, living with the anger, living with the resentment, and all of that kind of thing. So, I mean, like everyone else, I definitely commend you, Tammey, for just putting this product out here, for putting it out here for people, around you, because we all walk pretty much in the same community. Whereas I think Coco said, we're here in Dallas, we're in this LGBT community and things like that. And being this small of a community, we need to understand that there's people right here with us in our demographic from our part of town, you know what I'm saying, that went through that. And so that's what Holy Spirit gives us. I mean, even if we ask for the nations begin at home. The nations begin with each one in that neighborhood that you were from, that knew, that may have been abused by the same abuser that you were abused by. These are some of the things that we need to put out there so people can say, look, it happened to me too. They may not have the bravery to go into as much detail as you've gone into with Unlocked Secrets, but at least just knowing that they were not alone, because I think that's something that you touched on. But I just want to start at the beginning, because it says here that your childhood home was a party house. And it can sound like that's something great. I mean, who doesn't want a party house? But you tell it a little bit different. So let's talk about the party house situation, because many times and most of the time, the abuse begins at home.
Okay, so when I say my house started as a party house, for the people who have the unlocked secrets too, my mom was dealing with a lot of things that she went through in her life, with her dad touching her, with her getting pregnant by my grandfather. So in the midst of that, my mom was always looking for a dad figure. And she met my stepdad. My stepdad was an older man. He was mature. My mom, we were from McKinney. She leaned on him, and in the midst of my mom trying to heal and going through what she was going through, she had 5 kids. She had 5 of us. Um, Sorry, y'all, give me a moment.
Okay,
Um,
take your time.
she had 5 of us, and her having to grow up without a mom herself because my granny was a drunk. They ran a bootleg. So my granny, I don't know if y'all know, like back in the day, the women used to turn their head knowing that their man was looking at their kids a certain way. So back in the day, it was known for the dad to be the one to have the first pick of his daughters, to
Oh,
mess around and sleep with his daughters. So just like my granny did, my mom did the same. She self-medicated. My granny drunk herself to death. She on the bootleg, turned the cheek, when my mom got pregnant and all that. And the same thing, my mom learned from her mom
mm,
to push that aside, self medicate. So my house was the party house. Every
mhm.
weekend, it doesn't matter. It was a lot of people over there. So, like I said, generation after generation, it was just that's what they did, self medicate. And in the midst of my mom looking for a dad figure, which she never had because my granddad slept with her, got her pregnant. The only thing she found relief in was partying, partying, self-medicating herself. But she felt like she was saving her kids because she kept the girls and she gave away the boys.
Mm.
So when I say my house was a party house, you think, oh, you having fun, you chilling and stuff. No, it wasn't. I felt like I was I don't want to say a brothel or whatever. I felt like I was on display for a bunch of drunk men to look at. I felt
Mhm.
like, just probably like my granny did, she sacrificed her daughter because she didn't want to get her ass whooped. She got tired of them putting their hands on her. So my
Mhm.
mom, even though my stepdad didn't touch me, she knew we was on display for a bunch of drunk men. And she just party, 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 party.
Go ahead. You're good. Well, I wanted to touch on that because in the book, this is where you started drinking.
Yes.
This, and I've definitely seen that where the children become alcoholics right there at home. And um, this is where this is, I guess, where you were first violated. Your and even before, when you talked about your mother, um, you were talking about being 10 years old as far as her battling, that's the time that she started battling with her demons, but it really wasn't your 10-year old, because she was obviously battling with that even before you came into the picture, you know.
It took me to basically experience and damn near go through what my mom went through. What people don't understand is when you get touched at an early age, it stops your growth. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop the years on your life. And for a long time, I'm gonna say this word, I hated my mom. I
Mhm.
hated my mom for the things that I went through in my life, but I had to realize that me becoming a mom myself, um, when you get touched and you get violated, it stops like your mentality. You could be 40 and you still that 10-year-old child crying out for help, crying out, please help me, please help me. So my mom self-medicated because she cried out to her mom like I cried out to my mom. But the difference between my story and my mom's story is back then it was it was okay for the dad to sleep with the daughter first. It was okay for that. And I
When you say, let's stop right there. When you say it was okay, it was not okay.
it wasn't
Okay.
it
But it
wasn't
was
okay.
okay in y'all's house. Or it was a tradition.
It was. It was. It
Okay.
was.
A
And
tradition, a
yeah,
generational, one of the generational curses.
it
Because
was because
because incest, things like that is a generational curse. And that type of abuse, because so when you say that means it was normalized in your
it
home.
it
So it
was
wasn't okay, but it was normalized.
yeah, it was normalized. My mom, she thought by moving us from McKinney, I'm gonna say McKinney, moving us from McKinney because I have cousins who's married to cousins, and then she thought she was moving us from the sickness. She thought she was moving us from the sickness, not knowing that when she opened up and let her past be known to whomever she was with, my stepdad, they
Mm,
pray on that.
right.
When
And
he
ooh,
prayed on it.
that is one thing when you tell, that's another barrier to healing, because when you tell someone about it and you don't get the response of support, then that makes it even more of a trauma. Just like you didn't
Yeah.
get the support when you told your mom, about it. When people don't get the support, it makes it even more of a secret and even more of, something shameful. Come
If
on,
I can interject for just a moment.
please do.
Um, like I said, this story is heartbreaking as it is. I can definitely testify of the normalization of sexual abuse of children within Black families. Like I said, I have been helping people for years, and my very first client, who is now in her 70s, was abused as a child, once again, before the age of 10. So the normalization and the era that a lot of our grandparents, maybe even great grandparents, came out of, the understanding that the rules for Black people in the 30s and the 40s was a mixed bag. You still had abuse. You still had to deal with your Black identity. You had to deal with all these other situations. I'm not saying any of this as an excuse for abuse. It is only to highlight what our ancestries went through and where, following the lineage of how this came to being, because men were so emasculated and women, um you're if you're a young Black woman in the 30s, what do you do? Do you go get a job? You can't go get a nursing license. You can't. There's so many things that were pressured upon them. And we know that when people lash out in abuse, it can come in a form of alcoholism, sex, drugs, and it's just cyclic. It just keeps going generation after generation. And it is very tragic. And I definitely can testify to the fact it did not, thank God, it did not happen to me as far as sexual abuse in my home. But I have seen and witnessed and heard many young Black people, boys and girls, sexually abused by a parent, and I also want people to understand that this abuse is so widespread. It is not localized to males, as far as being the abuser or the abused. So I just wanted to highlight that point right quick because once again, one of my clients that I worked with, she was actually sexually active and assaulted um, by a woman, as a woman, and people often don't talk about that either. But as we heal these wounds, it's important to open up the doors and kind of let's let all the secrets out.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, just a moment.
No, you good. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
My bad. No, I mean, you're right. All the secrets and skeletons need to, be laid to bear so that we don't, so that we don't continue that, of course, with our own children. But just because, there's so many unhealed people walking around in this world, and we know the saying that goes, hurt people hurt people. So the only way that we can really stop people from hurting each other is to stop people from being hurt by their past and being hurt by their
Yeah.
trauma. You know what I'm saying? Because like we've just said it out here now. Tammey is the only one on this live who has gone through what this, this in this book. Each one of us have said we didn't go through that, but there's so many others, that do. So many, and it's for, it's not that we haven't gone through anything, but we didn't go through that.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I can only imagine because it came from every direction for you, Tammey. I was reading where you were talking about the cousin, um, the one that pretended that he was slow. It's that kind of thing. But even in that, in order to get away with it, into that whole predator mentality, and he was probably, it was something that he went through also that made him even take on the persona of
Yes, yes,
somebody slow, right?
yes, yes. And I said that a lot because myself not dealing as far with the men, but as far as with the women, you get what I'm saying? When I went through what I went through in my life, the women that I was attracted to were way younger than me. You get what I'm saying? And me not knowing at the same time, I was doing to them what was done to me. You get what I'm saying? So it's like what Star said, the predators are not always men. They're not always men. It's women out there too, but like you touched on, a lot of hurt people hurt people. So me being dealing with my own sickness, I pass that on to somebody else. You get what I'm saying? Hurting somebody else. So yeah, yeah.
So Tammy, what was the turning point in you deciding, because I know that you talked about it for a while, and but you said that you've been journaling and writing since you were younger. So what was the catalyst? What was that thing that made you say, okay, it's time for me to put this down on paper? Um, if you don't mind going into that for us.
Hmm. The group, the ear, the ear. I started listening to a lot of people testimonies, the things that they were going through, and I started opening up, and they didn't know by them sharing their stories, they were healing me at the same time.
Right.
And it was just like, okay, this is a group, but God has God has a way of, I'm not gonna say that he pushed me out there so the attention can be on me or the spotlight could be on me and I could take their wounds and whatever they went through. I felt like I was obligated to tell my story. I felt like, how dare I ask them to share a part of their life with me if I'm still ashamed and hiding who I am?
Right.
And I would get on Facebook, I would write poems, I would do this and that, but it wasn't enough because still I was protecting my predators because I was ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
So the group, the ear, I don't know if it was a blessing from God or what, but when they started opening up in the inboxes, and it's just like it it took a life of its own. And it was like God connected me to Sharon. But then I joined another group and we started talking about another topic. And it God showed me Star. And it was just like everybody was like, you know what? Do it, do it. So then I tried to do one. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put a little bit of my mom's story in there. And it just didn't sit right with me. It didn't sit right with me when I got time to write two. I say, you know what? The only way that somebody could understand what you've been through if you tell your story. Can nobody connect with you if you still ashamed of the things that you've been through in your past? How can I tell you how to heal? I can't tell you how to heal. You have to do that on your own. But I want you to understand. When I tell you I understand, I feel it. I feel it. I've been through it. And it is so hard to be so positive and be motivational to everybody else when you're breaking yourself, when you're breaking down, when you still ashamed, when you still hurt yourself. It's I could go on, but it's like God said, you know what? Forget everything else that you're doing. I want you right now. I want you right now. I want you to burn it out. Burn it out. Strip down naked, take your clothes off, whatever you need to do, say it. I need you to be the voice for the ones who can't speak. I can only tell you what I've been through.
Absolutely. And you know what? I mean, I've always, I went, as I was reading through the book, when we were ever interacting on a social level, I always looked at you as a bodyguard type, a person that would took up for everybody, and would put yourself in the line of fire, fixing other people, people pleasing, codependency, and those are things. Those are toxic traits
Yes.
of trauma. You know what I'm saying? Trying to fix other people when you're broken. How can you put them together? How can you fix someone else and you're broken? How can you protect someone else when you need protection? You know, you wrote about in your book about when you told your mother, and you said that she had always told you guys, to make sure that y'all would tell if you were ever touched. But when you told, the shame of her own past and her own abuse, and the shame of of just in that situation, kept you even more quiet about the situation. It put even more stress on the situation to stay quiet and to hide the shame. And knowing what she knew, and still denied you, still denied you at least the knowledge that even if you couldn't do anything about it, that she knew and that she would protect you. So, but you know what? I understand that too. Okay, because it's easy to live, and it's easier to deny that it's happening than to confront it and to confront the abuser. Especially when your mom was deeply embroiled in being abused herself.
It took me a long time to forgive my mom. And at this moment, I'm still battling right now to just, she's reaching out, but I can't, I can't, I can't do it. It's just like, what broke my heart is when my mom said, I believe you because your sister came to me and told me the same thing that happened to her. Why would it take my sister to tell you that it happened to her? It just
Yeah.
like I said, I'm healing. I'm healing through this journey like everybody else. I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. I'm healing myself. Chapter 2, I've only read a couple of pages of it. I know I wrote it. I know I
Yeah.
wrote it.
Well, honey, I'm telling you, you better read it and get on into it. Because I'm telling you, I'm almost done with it. But the Oh my God, when I say vivid storytelling, I mean like you can actually feel the um the story unfolding and coming to life. You know, you can feel the fear. You can feel the anger. You can feel the pain of going through that within your family. You know, I mean, you said that you started running away, and when family becomes enemy territory, when your home, we think of our home as our castle, right? Our home is our uh, protection, where we can lock the doors and lock the windows and keep out the bad. But that was not the case here.
No. Can nobody tell your story better than you can? Well, Star, let me rephrase that. When God places certain people in your life, the things that you can't express or say, He places people in your life that can do it for you. And I done told Star a millions of times, like when I wrote this to her, I was waiting on her to say, no, we can't put that. We can't do that. We can't. You know what she did? She wrote it. And the way that she worded it was so beautifully. I was like, wait a minute. Is that what I was trying to say? But she said it in a different way.
Wow.
So when God
Well,
wants the story
I
to
mean,
get out, He going to get it out.
that is true now, Starla, because even in the description of what the cousin made you do, the wording was, it hit home, but and it described the situation, but it was not. It didn't make you feel filthy reading it. You know what I'm saying? You still conveyed the idea of so that anybody reading it would know exactly what, but the filth factor was gone. And so I have to commend you both for that. That you can still tell a story and still we understand everything that happened to Tammey. Okay. But it was written in such a way that even though it's talking about filthy, dirty, you know, prohibited, forbidden sex, it didn't come off that way. It's very readable. So I mean, you definitely did make a great selection here with selecting Starla to help out with this. And so I'm to the point now where you became a 10-year-old drunk child.
Yes. Yes. A 10-year old drunk child. And the sad part about it, she still didn't notice. Nobody noticed because the only time that somebody noticed is when I tried to take my own life in the story, and that sympathy only lasted every bit of them pumping the pills up out of my stomach. And after that, I was known as the crazy child. So crazy took over drunk, crazy took over being molested, crazy took over you weren't able to protect your child. And a lot of people get classified as crazy when they've been dealing with a lot of trauma and things that a lot of people don't understand. You
Right.
know, it's a lot of, hey, we're just gonna dope them up, we're gonna medicate them, they'll be all right, but they don't get to the root of the problem. So I went from a 9-year old uh, getting molested, a mom who turned her back on me, being a newborn who was given to my auntie who kidnapped me, to me trying to take my own life, and to them getting to the root of the problem. So now I'm just a crazy kid who they didn't allow to be by themselves. So crazy describes everything. Dope her up. She's crazy. Not that she's hurt. She's crazy.
And that goes into so many mental health issues because when it's that whole, I call it name calling, because as a woman of God, I believe that life and death lies in the power of your tongue. Okay. And so when you put these labels, these on a situation, on a person, then that person starts to embody, the definition of that, So if the only way that people will really give you any respect is if you act crazy, because they know you're crazy because you're holding true to whatever it is that had been put on you. So now you live up to that. You make that be your persona and things like that. And I mean, you have to, people
Yeah.
say you're crazy, Tammy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not laughing at you because I know where it comes from, and I know that you're a very, very sweet person. And so, but you, when you know where it comes from, you like this, no, I'm not crazy.
I'm just misunderstood. Misunderstood was misdirected. Like um, that's the only thing that I can say that I give social media props to. We could sit back, we could judge people, but the things about social media with Facebook, the Instagrams, we get an insight on people's lives. Some of it may be a little made up, but you get an insight on everybody's life. And you tend to touch people that you never thought that you would touch, because a lot of people going through the things that you've been going through. And a lot of times when they share things on their page, they don't know that you're going through it or that it touched you. But that's the good thing about it. You get what I'm saying? Uh Sharon, I want her to speak. She been a little quiet. Hey, how you doing down there?
I'm
I was
good.
gonna say the same thing.
You been a little quiet.
No, no. For me, the book, with the molestation and things like that, it just made me feel sick that an adult could treat a child, like that and change their whole life, and make them, feel bad about themselves and go down a dark hole and things like that. It's just especially a mother and daughter, their bond. A mother, I mean, a daughter and needs her father too, but a mother and a daughter's bond is something that is, is immeasurable. You can't, put a price on that or, measure that. And I think that was a lot of, the situation in this book that, with your mom, she didn't step up, when you really needed her to, and you said that you were having a problem. She didn't believe you. So, a lot of that, would have ended if she would have just, believed you. Not blaming her for everything, but just still, man would have changed certain things. But I think that, certain things happen. I don't believe in coincidences. I think that everything happens for a reason. Now you're writing your book, you're living your best life. So you may not have came this route this fast if, certain things, didn't happen. I hate that happened to you, but, you may not have been the person that you are today, without it. It surely made you stronger. So most
Wow.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, the joy is in the survival. The joy is in knowing that yes, you went through that and now you're survived. Um, and in your survival, you actually can help people. You actually can help fix people. That whole thing that turned you into the who you are. Now you just don't take it from a crazy standpoint. You take it from a person that's healing and helping to heal other people, because a lot of times, just like you, people think that they're in it by themselves. They think that nothing like this has ever happened to anyone else, or they think that they're the only one that has gone through it. And when you do, just like you said in your group, when you were in your group, just hearing and seeing that other people had these stories to tell, that opened up a whole new world for you, in writing this story. And in writing the story, you put it out there. And because when you go through and you see all of these obstacles, um, that you had to overcome, these hurdles, this adversity that you had to overcome. Now you are the one breaking the generational curse for your family, and that's really what we're put here to do. So if you're following the leading of the Holy Spirit in the groups, and with making your new connections, then you are fulfilling your purpose in life. Sometimes we ask God, why did this happen? That what you went through didn't happen to me, but what I went through happened to me, and I asked God why. You know what I'm saying? And the why is so God will get the glory. And I know sometimes people have a hard time getting from one place, from the place of disability, the place of being lame, the place of being abused, and the place of being victimized, to the place where God gets the glory. You know, that's kind of a long road.
That is, man. But I know a lot of things that I've been through in my life, and I sugarcoated it in a book. I know it was nothing but God that brought me through it. If I tell y'all, it was no human. It was God. I've been through so much in my life. Like, man, Star, girl, we're gonna have to write a couple of 10,000 books. And it's like, I'm like, everything happened to me at once. It's like the molestation, homeless. It's like, God, why is everything me? Why I got to experience all of this? Well, one person probably go through what I went through just a little bit in their life. I experienced it all at one time. And it took me a long time because I was angry first at my mom. I was angry at God. And it is like, oh man, why me? Why me? And it's just like, why not you? Why not you?
Because it's your story to tell,
Yes.
and it's it's your testimony, you know. Um, it's it explains some things,
I'm still
and
going through. Still
And
going
I'm
through.
telling you, babe, it really does. It explains some things, and then
Yes.
it puts some things out there for you to continue to work on, to continue to heal, so that you can be your best self and be this amazing author, and come at us with some more books and some more, once you tell this story, there may be another story to tell, you know.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I can. That's the thing about me. I can only be me. I can't pretend. I can't say, oh, well, I done wrote these little books. I got to change. What you see is what you get. What I've been through, my life, my story. I wake up. I could be happy. I could be positive. I could make you laugh. I can make you want to cuss me out. What you see is what you get. I can only be me. You get what I'm saying? Because I had to grow up, be the adult, be the family member for me. That's all I know. So when I write it, what you're seeing, what you're reading, it's me. My posts, what I'm going through, my songs, my life, it's me.
yeah.
I it's me. I don't have
And
a narrator.
that's all that you can be. That's what it is. Is cause because at some point you learn to be something other than you.
Yes,
Okay, and now you're coming back to you,
to
and
me.
now you're living your truth, your
Yes,
true, genuine, authentic self.
me.
Okay, that's just all you. All
No
right.
copyright. Star.
Okay. No cap. All right. Wow. Um,
Okay.
the
Star.
survival. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Did you say something?
No, I was trying to let her tell it because she's fit to start what you self publishing. How you do self publishing. I was
Mhm.
just trying to
Yes,
get her little
yes,
piece.
because I'm keeping it everything under 60 minutes, and we've got about 5 or 6 more minutes. So please, we want to know that part so that other people that have a story to tell can do this, this part of the healing.
Absolutely. I'll make it very brief. If you are a person who really wants to heal through whatever version of art, if it's writing or whatever, um, I say the first step is keep journaling, keep writing. Um, I have, all of us who are creative people usually have a hidden shoebox somewhere with, pieces of envelope, stuff you've written, keep it and then log it. And then when you're ready for that process, do not be afraid. It is not as hard. I believe that like Tammey, most people think, oh, it's going to take forever. It's going to be hard. The hardest thing is you being able to just write it. Don't try to make it perfect. Don't try to self edit it. Reach out to someone like me or reach out to another person who wants to help you mold it into a book that you want it to be. And don't stop. That's the best advice I can give, is that do not stop. Don't let your fear stop you. Don't let the torment of others, don't let fear of what other people think stop you. Just keep writing. And when you're ready, you just reach out. And trust me, the process is actually much easier than most people think.
All right. Thank you for that. Coco, do you want to come back and have some final words? I sure do appreciate you being here with that big, beautiful afro hair. I love big hair, honey. Okay.
Thank
I just
you.
got mine tied up right now for a minute, but I love big hair.
No, all of y'all are beautiful. No, thank you for having me. I mean, just even being here, not having much to say, but just listening to y'all and being a part of it means the world to me. So thank you. Thank you, Tammy.
Well,
You
thank
welcome.
you. It was definitely a treat to have you on because Tammy thinks very highly of you as a support. So thank you so much for coming in and contributing.
Thank you.
Tammy, you want to have some final words about part three?
Part three. Say, I try to sum it up, Star. Listen to it. Take the vibe. But anyway, part three, when y'all think y'all knew everything in part three is gonna take you for a twist. When you go through trauma in your life, you create a I'm gonna say a shelter. I'm gonna say I created shelter. I created different personalities in my head that could cope with things that I wasn't able to cope with through the trauma that I went through. So basically, what I'm gonna say is, when you think you done read everything in part two, check out part three, because another personality fit come to life. What you think you see is not what you see. It's all about real. It's all about life. The only thing I can do you is give you the real. Unlock secrets.
All
Part three,
right.
solo screen. Stay tuned.
Absolutely. Well,
I need
thank
to
you
be a
guys.
rapper.
And thank you all for joining us this evening on Hot Pink Radio and talking about the Unlocked Secrets series of novels. So, it is on Amazon. So go and, catch a copy. I think Tammy carries them around with her as well. So we're just going to shut off this broadcast for tonight, and we will see you again next time. Listen, honey child, I know that it's hard to find somebody to talk to when you're going through. I know it's hard to find somebody to listen without judgment. And sometimes when you're in a dark place, you need sound spiritual advice to help you on your journey. My name is Cherie Stern, and I'm qualified because I care.